Hey friends! So today I'm using Simple Stories Great Escape as well as a cut file from paperissues.com. It is called Triangle Floral, and hey, guess what? It's free. I cut the cut file out on a metallic paper. I was inspired to do that by our design team member, Lacey Robin. So I'm just sitting here trying to figure out how I'm going to orient this cut file with my photo that I'm going to be using. One thing that I like to do before I start gluing down or making big decisions is just go ahead and play with some of the ephemera. So I'm using some of the matching ephemera packs from Simple Stories. And I've decided that I want to use some of those leaves just kind of under the cut file. So I'm just positioning those in there, just kind of pre-planning. At this time, I decide that I want to add some mixed media. So I do that by adding some gesso directly to the scrapbook paper. I use a credit card to smooth that down and just kind of keeping in line with the cut file. By using the card, you ensure that you have a very smooth surface. I do go ahead and dry that. And now I'm going to go ahead and select some distress oxides that I'm going to add to this. So for the green, I used Mowed Lawn. And then coming up in a minute or so, I'm going to add some tumbled glass. And I'm just going ahead and smashing that down onto right onto the gessoed area. I totally forgot. I also used some Vicki Boutin crayons here, the art crayons, to add some brown splatters. And I wanted to bring in some of that reddish brown from the plaid. I had this crazy idea to go ahead and lift up this cut file. So I cut off 1,000 little tiny pieces of foam, really skinny pieces of foam, and carefully pieced those to the back of the file. I did not do all of the areas. I only did the main lines. So the areas underneath the leaves are not secured with the foam. Here I come in with the tumbled glass, just using my paintbrush and then smashing that down just to add a little bit more color underneath the cut file. I use my red top fine line glue to go ahead and secure that down. And I add some of the leaves from the embellishment pack to enhance that cluster just a little bit more. Something that I like to do is pop up the very edges of those leaves. So I used the craft foam to do that. I put my picture into place. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to back it. I decide to not do that. Again, I'm still playing around with some of the embellishments from the embellishment pack. I play around with the word wander, and I'm deciding if I want to leave that. I do know for sure that I want to put my title there. So I heard someone say a long time ago that when you put embellishments down, you're kind of auditioning them. And I like that, and that's exactly what I'm doing here, is auditioning some of those. I was debating on whether or not to use that sticker, and in the end I decide not to. So just adding lots of little goodies in there, just, tucked away. Some of the mushrooms. So this picture was taken out at a camp that we take our students to, and this is my quiet spot. Since I'm not supervising children, I get to get away for a minute, and I like to come to this little pond and sit there. And they have these little mason jars hanging from rope, and they're just so peaceful. And I just sit there and think that it's absolutely beautiful. The name of the place is Canyon Creek. Of course, I put my title down just a little bit wonky, so I had to go back in and reset it. I'm going to date stamp this using my wonderful Becky Higgins date stamper and position that in underneath the photo. I will trim off that branding strip. And I'm going back to my stickers to decide if there's anything else I want to add. And I add this cute little butterfly in there. And I think that I'm just about done, except that I'm going to add some Nuvo drops. So I'm using pumice stone and blackboard. And both of those are in the vintage drops. And here's my final layout. And some detail shots. You can see that my metallic paper was a little bit scuffed up. I've had that for years. It was time to use it. Coming up here at the end, as always, save 20%. Use my code. Thank you.